Hello, welcome back to Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. It's me, A. Proustian, and I am still continuing this trial. I'm pretty sure we are requesting Jake Marshall to step forward, which is going to be very interesting. So let's get into it. Whom did you have in mind? Someone we have reason to believe knows the truth. The truth behind the activities that took place in the evidence room. The prosecution requests to hear this person's name before deciding whether or not to comply. Very well then, Mr. Wright. This person whom you would have to testify. What is his or her name? Well, it's going to be Jake Marshall, so let's do it. A patrolman investigating the incident at the prosecutor's office thinks he's a cowboy. Actually, let's look at all of these. Damon Gaunt, 65, District Chief of Police. Though he may not seem it, he's top dog in the PD. Mike Meekins, 22, Patrolman with General Affairs, suspected of killing Goodman in the evidence room. Bruce Goodman, 36, the victim and a good man, Detective in Criminal Affairs who handled the SL9 case. The "and a good man" is interesting. Whose opinion is that? Is that the game's opinion? Dick Gumshoe. I forgot his first name was Dick. Oh my god. Alright. 30. Detective at the local precinct, in charge of the initial investigation. Lana Skye, 29. Defendant and chief prosecutor for the district, wounded on her right hand. She's so young to be chief prosecutor. Emma Skye, 16. High school junior and self-styled scientific investigator. Client, sister of Lana Skye. 13 years younger. Angel Starr, 31, mysterious lunch lady, witness to the murder known as the Cough-Up Queen. Alright, well, let's talk to Jake. Officer Jake Marshall. Why him? Can't let Edgeworth know everything just yet. He's in charge of the evidence room. I feel we should hear what he has to say. The prosecution agrees to the defense's request. Since he was responsible for guarding the room, we should hear his testimony. Fortunately, he works in the police department. We shouldn't need longer than 20 minutes to prepare. Everything happens so fast. Very well. The court will take a 30-minute recess while the witness is subpoenaed. Will the prosecution please prepare the witness during this time? We will, Your Honor. Court is now in recess. I feel like real court stuff just does not happen this fast. All right, February 24th, 11:32, defendant lobby number 2. There's no stopping you, is there, Mr. Wright? Huh? What do you mean? You called for Jake Marshall. Seems you figured everything out. I haven't figured anything out. Lana, you're the one who knows everything. Emma. You always know everything. Why don't you just tell us? Mr. Wright is trying his hardest to protect you. I don't recall ever asking for his protection. How can you be so cold? Don't you trust us? Don't you trust me? Oh, I feel so bad for Emma. She just wants, a stronger relationship with her sister. And they have a pretty big age gap, so it almost feels like she looks up to Lana so much and Lana doesn't really think about her much. At least that might be how it feels from Emma's point of view. Hope I'm not interrupting anything, pals. Oh my god, Gumshoe. Well, you aren't now. Oh, guess I am. I'll come back later. Oh, his poor puppy face. Wait, Detective Gumshoe, what is it? You've got a lot of nerve, pal. Make a detective run around while on duty. To top it off, you call me here. I've seen happier people at funerals. Sorry, Detective. You better be, pal. Hey! 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 I didn't see you there, Chief Prosecutor Sky. That's okay. So, have you brought what I asked? Oh. Oh, 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 oh. You mean this, right? My apologies, Detective. Due to my present circumstances, I was forced to use Mr. Wright's name when making my request. My name? Never in a million years would I have thought it was you who asked me. Could I bother you to bring me the SL9 incident files? I'll need them by noon. Talk about crazy. The SL9 incident? But Lana, that's... I thought Mr. Wright might need them, so I had them brought here. Here, you might do well to read them. I can't believe you, the chief prosecutor, were a witness in that case. Oh, interesting. Miss Sky was a witness? The Joe Dark killings solved 2 years ago. Take it from me, you don't want anything to do with serial murders. Oh, what? Now that I brought you your stuff, you're just gonna ignore me? Emma, but why? Why is your name in here? What? My name's in there? I don't know. Unless... No, it couldn't be. Lana, this SL9 incident, is that... That's the classification number the police filed it under. 2 years ago, the rest of the world knew it as the Joe Dark killings. The Joe Dark... No. No, Lana. That's over with. No. Emma, wait. She ran away. You know what? I just remembered. I gotta be somewhere. Oh, he does not want anything to do with this awkwardness. Sorry, pal, but I'm out of here. Thanks, Gumshoe. Jake Marshall, Angel Starr, Damon Gant, Miles Edgeworth, not to mention Lana and Emma. Everyone involved in this case is connected to those killings 2 years ago. That has been kind of the theme. Like, now they're making it explicit, but certainly we'd already known Bruce Goodman, Angel Starr, Jake Marshall, Miles Edgeworth. We knew them for sure. So, and Lana, because I think they said something about her being involved. I don't remember specifically. This can't be just a coincidence. Knowing you, you might just be able to figure it out. Time to get back to the trial, Mr. Wright. Best of luck. Better take a good look at this file. Yeah, I better. When do I get a chance? Oh, to be continued. Okay. Let's save. 12:14 p.m. Courtroom number 9. The court will now reconvene for the trial of Ms. Lana Sky. Okay, before I get too deep into that, I want to see... It's good for me to remember. What was this? Oh, right. This is a totally different case that Gant brought to him. Rubber glove. This frickin' jar. Okay, let's check the files here. Okay, incident number SL9 closed. Perpetrator Joe Dark. Crime serial murder. Sentence death. Victims Edward Jones, Jason Knight, Edith Kirby, Rachel Moss, Jeb Bates, Neil Marshall. Head prosecutor Miles Edgeworth. Witness Lana Sky and Emma Sky. Investigation Task Force Executive Investigators Damon Gant, Lana Sky. Head Investigator Bruce Goodman. Investigators Jake Marshall, Angel Starr. So Lana was also investigating. Unless executive investigators like executive producer, which means, you know, you help but not in a direct way. Interesting. Emma didn't come back. Interesting. I don't blame her. I mean, if she were a witness to serial murders, didn't their parents die? Were their parents killed in that case? Ooh, that would be tough. Alright, well, allow me to call the next witness to the stand. The officer in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day of the crime. And here we go. Witness, please state your name and occupation. I think what's so funny to me about this is that, like, poor Edgeworth always having to do this, is it's always, like, difficult. And it cracks me up. Me, partner? Oh, I'm just a man, same as you, wandering the trails of civilization. Occasionally helping the elderly cross intersections when needed. Yes, we get it. Oh, I know. You're a patrolman. As for my name, if you listen hard enough, you can hear the howling wind calling it out. To be exact, it's Jake Marshall, Your Honor. Edward just has no patience for this. I love it. Howling wind? I've never heard Edgeworth described that way before. Now, Mr. Marshall, let me ask you something. You were in charge of guarding the evidence room on the day the crime took place. Is this correct? According to the papers, partner. What do you mean? A desperado's soul is as boundless as the desert sands. No paper can sum it up. In other words, he was not there. Maybe it's best we get on with this quickly. Please share with us your testimony of the day of the crime. In plain old English. We'll see how that goes. My job was to keep a wary eye on that bone orchard. They said I was supposed to make rounds 3 times a day. That ain't my style. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. If I remember right, I was at a street-side saloon at the time it went down. I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Good God, Marshall. This was your job, and you weren't doing it. I can't say I particularly care for your attitude. Can't say I care for your beard. You don't see me complaining. Oh, is that what you're gonna do? Tell the judge he has a terrible beard? When in fact he has a pretty glorious beard, you have to admit. Wait a minute. What do you mean by 2 security systems? I mean the security cameras and the ID card reader. I reckon even a cowpoke like you knows about those. Yes, well, what about the fingerprint-activated locks on the evidence lockers? Fingerprint-activated locks? What kind of newfangled doohickey are those? You don't know about that? He's not being very helpful. He's not that good with machines, or with following orders. Everyone's got their weaknesses, now don't they, Mr. Prosecutor? This one seems like trouble. Okay, Mr. Wright, he's all yours. Oh boy. Day of the crime. Well, you keep an wary eye on that bone orchard. I'm gonna save here. Alright, let's ask you about it. How exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? Now, okay, before I see Jake's answer, I remember early on Cold Run saying something to me about how, like, it's generally not going to hurt your testimony health to press people on everything. And so you may want to, although at some point there may be witnesses you don't care to hear that much from. And I was like, okay, but why would I not want to hear from them? And I'm like, oh my God, how much patience do I have for Jake Marshall here? We'll still press him on everything because I don't know what's important. You know, impressing on things does lead to new stuff. So I will just do it. But oh my God, Jake, I don't know why he pushes my buttons. I think it's because he's so vague with his like cowboy metaphors. And I'm like, just get to it. I'm very much with the judge here. All right, how exactly did you keep an eye on the evidence room? I just made sure nothing moved in the security camera monitor. That room's so still, even time dies in there. I was just a caretaker who interred the recordings. You interred them? Videos of nothing aren't that useful. When the time would come, I'd erase the tape. If nothing unusual is recorded, tapes are to be erased every 6 hours. Each time I'd erase a tape, it felt like I was erasing a part of my life. This guy has a flair for the dramatic, but it isn't going to do him any good. So, in actuality, you don't physically enter the evidence room. That's what he says. Okay, supposed to make rounds 3 times a day. But you made your rounds on the day of the crime, right? Ain't you heard a word I said, partner? I told you that ain't my style. Huh. I'm afraid I don't understand. No desperado I know lets rules get in his way. No desperados I know join the police force. It's a good point. How many desperados do all of you know anyways? So, Officer Marshall, on the day of the crime? Just between you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. Oh, interesting. Interesting you should say that. There was a rubber glove stuck to the victim's locker. Do you know anything about that? Sorry, partner. Can't say I do. I haven't been in that crypt in weeks. How does this guy avoid being fired? It's another good question. Besides, the room's protected by 2 security systems anyway. You used to be a detective, so you've used the evidence room in the past, correct? Of course. Back in the day, my locker was a goldmine of evidence. And yet, you didn't know about the fingerprint locking mechanism? Sorry, partner. I ain't good with machines. I couldn't even tell you how a bike works. That's quite, incredible. The sensors on the locker handles cannot be seen. It's well known that some detectives are unaware of their presence. Now that he mentions it, Detective Gumshoe said something like that too. Okay, at any rate, it doesn't seem that this is relevant to the crime. Can you tell us what you were doing when the crime took place? It's at a bar or something. A street-side saloon at the time it went down. What were you doing in a place like that? I was eating spaghetti. Not even Angel's steak lunches can beat that parlor's vongole sepia pasta. Do you mean to tell us you abandoned your police duty to eat some noodles? Not all desperados eat tacos, partner. That's not what I meant. I hope this has at least taught you a lesson. That's strange. This is usually where Edgeworth says. Did you not want a raise this year? Oh, interesting. Does Jake Marshall have dirt on the police department somehow? That they let him do whatever he wants here and figure security systems are good enough, it doesn't matter if he's terrible at it? Like, does he have some kind of deal with them that Miles knows about? I'm just an innocent traveling man, so if you're out of ammo, it's time I hit the trail. Out of ammo, Officer Marshall. That's right, partner. Or as you call it, evidence. If you plan to pin me to this crime, you'd better draw. Otherwise, you're just wasting my time. My steel horse is waiting to carry me back west into the sunset. One thing seems clear. Despite being responsible for guarding the evidence room, the witness doesn't appear to have seen anything. Texans don't take orders from anyone. Everyone knows that. Apparently your superiors don't. Okay, I have a trump card up my sleeve, so I best keep my cool. Yeah, the fingerprint. Before I use it, though, I better up the ante. What does that mean? Supposed to make rounds 3 times a day, but that ain't my style. I think this is where... I mean, the thing is, I don't know what to do except to use that fingerprint evidence. So I'm gonna just go ahead and press him on this again. Made your rounds. I told you that ain't my style. Okay. On the day of the crime, you and me, I didn't set foot in the evidence room that day. Okay, I'm gonna try to... Oh, wait, I can't present here. Oh, I forgot about that. Okay. But I can present here. I don't know what to do except use my so-called trump card. Which is this. So I'm gonna do it. This evidence clearly reveals the contradiction in that statement, Your Honor. Okay, see, so... Okay, what else do I have? I've pressed him on everything. We already know... Trying to check this. There's nothing to check. Can I present this here? I didn't think so. Okay. I'm not sure what to do then, because I have... I'm supposed to up the ante. What does that mean? A street side saloon, the time it went down. I have so much evidence. I have so many things. Like, at this point, I should be finding a contradiction, I guess? But I don't know what contradicts any of this specifically. Like, I know his fingerprint contradicts what he said when I pressed him. The only thing I can think of right now is to just go ahead and present these, even though we already talked about that. Okay. Okay, I'm checking to see what to do here because I'm just not sure. Okay, it looks like I am supposed to present the fingerprints like I thought I was. I'm just supposed to do it here at a street side saloon at the time it went down. Okay. I had the right idea initially, I just was presenting it at the wrong moment, so that makes me feel better. Officer Marshall, doesn't it strike you as odd? That is, you being called in to testify like this? After all, you weren't in the security room at the time of the crime. And yet you dragged me down here. Explain yourself, partner. It's quite simple. You left a very large trail behind at the scene. Or to be exact, a handprint. Huh. Listen real good, partner. Like I said, I'm the caretaker of that crypt. I pay my respects, that is, make my rounds about once a month. It's only natural my fingerprints would be in there. I only wish it were, officer. But you see, your fingerprints were covered in blood. Witness, what's the meaning of this? Your blood-stained fingerprints were at the crime scene? I think maybe we're supposed to, because it's a bloody handprint, that ties it to the time of the scene, at least loosely. The blood was wiped away. However, a luminal test clearly revealed this. Well, Officer Marshall? It seems to me there ain't a person in this room with a head on his shoulders. Hmm? I take it you have an explanation then, Officer Marshall? About the blood-stained fingerprints? Very well, you may begin your testimony about your fingerprints. Found at the scene of the crime. Okay, here we go. Like I said, it's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. One of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained handprint. The murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was, by chance. Bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Or didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? See? I had nothing to do with it. The witness's explanation appears valid, though there's room for doubt. Life wouldn't be fun without any doubt, partner. The defense may now cross-examine the witness. This guy's hiding something. I can feel it. Oh, well, yeah, 100%. Now's my chance to prove it. Okay. It's only natural for my fingerprints to be in that evidence room. That's because, how did you put it, pay your respects once a month? Yeah, that's right. That and one more thing. That locker happens to be mine. What? What do you mean? I mean what I said. That's the locker I used when I was a detective. The locker I still use. All that's in there now, though, is a heap of broken dreams. I see. It'd be strange if my prints weren't all over that locker. Apparently his fingerprint data was never removed from that locker's programming. He must have been using the fingerprint lock all this time without ever knowing it. Huh. Found on a bloody handprint on Marshall's own locker. The print had been wiped. Okay, one of them just happened to be at the same place as the blood-stained handprint. It's pretty coincidental. So then, what about the bloody handprint? Wasn't mine. It's no mystery. Please explain. My locker is covered with my fingerprints. It just so happened the murderer touched the locker where my fingerprint was by chance. Yeah, but why did that... Who wiped the bloody handprint away then? The chances of that happening are 1,000,000 to 1. On the contrary, one could argue just the opposite. Chances of that not happening are 1,000,000 to 1. Get one thing straight, partner. You ain't gonna get no reward from me with a mere fingerprint. You wanna know why? The bloodstain and the fingerprint are completely unrelated. Unrelated? They're as different as night and day. Kind of like cereal and cereal. One's got to do with breakfast, while the other's a type of murder. He's right, although seemingly alike, they're totally different. Thanks, Judge. I don't see what homonyms have to do with this. Didn't you know the murderer was wearing gloves? How do you know that? I may be a loner, but I still do my job. I keep up on the reports. There was a bloodstain at the scene, thought to be left by the murderer. That's right. It was found on Detective Gumshoe's locker. However, no fingerprints were detected on that handprint, which is what we discovered. Oh yeah, I think we tried that too. So that would mean the murderer wearing gloves happened to place their hand on top of Officer Marshall's fingerprint. That's the only logical conclusion. Are you starting to get the picture, partner? The picture? This seal of blood In the desert, it's just food for the buzzards. Hmm. There's only one reality, and that's this. The security tape. As long as my trail isn't in there, you can't say otherwise. This isn't getting us anywhere, Mr. Wright. Please consider carefully where you're going with this cross-examination. Yes, Your Honor. Now then, continue your testimony, Officer Marshall. Too bad it wasn't me in that video, right, partner? Do we know it wasn't him, dressed up as Goodman? What do you mean by that? You want to tie me to this crime, isn't that right, partner? If so, that video is the only direct evidence you have. That video is next to useless. It's full of blind spots. Blind spots? Places you can't see. The camera's panning back and forth. The floor isn't shown. If someone was familiar with the camera's position, they could leave the room without being caught on tape. It's true. We don't have time for your speculations, Mr. Wright. Well, Mr. Wright, if you can show us evidence in this video that indicates Officer Marshall was present, please do so now. Okay. I'm gonna save here again. And let's give this a try. It's gotta be in here somewhere. Very well. Allow me to point out your mistake, Officer Marshall. Tread carefully, Mr. Wright. You might wind up being the one making the mistake. Yeep. And now then, let's have another look at the video. Show us this incriminating evidence of the witness, Officer Jake Marshall. Okay. Oh, this goddamn soundtrack. Looks like there are handprints on the Blue Badger. Okay, I was trying to look over there to see if there's anything on his locker at the beginning. Because now it's like you just care about Meekins. Doesn't look like anything changed there. Why do we think that might be Marshall? Like, that's the question. Is the idea that Marshall snuck in and left during all this? Or is it that Marshall was dressed up as Goodman? Shit, I have no idea. Oh, it's starting over again. Oh boy. Is there anything about this guy? Like, I don't know if it really is Goodman. I feel like the idea is that this is Marshall. I'm trying to look at, like, his hair? I don't know. That could be anybody. You know Meekins comes in. I don't see anything different about him. Maybe at the very end? Okay, here they're fighting. Okay. Like, there's still nothing here. Wait a minute. Is there... There still isn't the thing hanging out of it. Wait. At the very end. Play, and then fast forward. Yeah! That changed! Hell yeah! I saw it. Bringing our attention back to the security camera is a mistake I'm afraid you'll soon not forget, Officer Marshall. The days are short in Texas, and so are our tempers. Could you sum up what you have to say in 8 words or less? Very well. You can clearly be seen in this video. Exactly 8 words. Not bad, partner. The key lies in a certain locker shown in the video. Yeah, Jake Marshall's the only one who could go in or out and do that. Yeah, the locker with the white cloth sticking out. That was the witnesses, I believe. Now then, let's rewind the video a bit. I knew there would be something that changes with his locker. I'm really proud of myself for catching it this time. I didn't need a hint. See? Oh, the white cloth. It's gone. What's the meaning of this, Officer Marshall? When the crime took place, the white cloth wasn't there. Then it suddenly appeared. There's only one explanation. Officer Marshall, you were in the evidence room at the time of the crime. What's more, you opened your locker when the camera was turned away. I don't think he did the crime, though. But he certainly is connected. Oh, hold your horses. Sorry, partner. You got the wrong man. I missed the, whatever the judge was saying. So what if my locker was open? Doesn't mean I'm the one who opened it. Yes, it does. Murderer needed to hide something, so he opened a locker and stuck it in. It's not my fault he happened to choose mine. Dude, Marshall. Why is everyone staring at me like I'm a wanted man? This guy isn't just playing dumb. He really doesn't know. Well, I mean, we've explained to him today, but he has forgotten. I hate to rain on your parade, but you're the only person who can open that particular locker. Oh yeah? I call your bluff. You say I opened that locker, now prove it. Oh, easy. Easy peasy, my man. Easy. A fingerprint sensor? We talked about this earlier today. The lockers can only be opened by the detectives they belong to. What kind of crazy talk is this? Well, Detective Gumshoe did mention something about this. Yeah, the locks aren't that obvious. There are even some people on the force that don't know about the fingerprint locks. So, Sheriff, what do you have to say in 8 words or less? Good turnaround. I only got 1 word for you, partner. No! The animation, like you'd been shot. Jesus, dude. Order, witness, explain yourself. If this is a joke, it's the worst I've ever heard. I assure you, this is no joke, Officer Marshall. Now then, please tell us what you were doing in the evidence room at the time of the crime. Well, sir. Ole, please answer the question. What is he now, a bullfighter? That's all right, Officer Marshall. I believe we can figure the rest out from here. Can we? We can? Thank you, Judge. I'm with you. Have a look at these floor plans. There's no place for someone to hide in the evidence room. Yet Officer Meekins didn't see Officer Marshall. Okay. Okay, Marshall was dressed up as Goodman, and I think the white cloth sticking out of his locker is his outfit, right? Like the white trench coat. So he ducks down, takes it off, puts it in the locker, and leaves unseen by the camera. Because it looks like Goodman just disappears. Okay, if that's so, then where was the witness? Seems Mr. Wright has an answer. That's right. The only possible conclusion. Well then, let's hear it. Where was Officer Marshall at the time of the crime? I'm not sure what K and V are. Which is rough because I think they're gonna dock me. But if this was the entrance, no, I can figure it out. Victim killer. He was the victim, right? Okay, I think it's this. Officer Marshall was standing right here. There? But that's where the victim, Detective Goodman, was. Correct. Unless the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Exactly. Exactly. I think he did this in order to make it appear that Goodman was in two places at the same time. Right? And I think Angel Starr set herself up to be a witness to see Goodman. Like, I think they're somehow in on this, but I don't know if they killed him. Or just... I don't know. I don't know. I believe the victim in the video is Officer Marshall. It was you, dressed up like Detective... It was you, dressed up like Detective Goodman. That's preposterous. Officer Meekins witnessed the detective at the crime scene. Once he saw the man's face, he'd know for sure. May I point out, though, that Officer Meekins did not know Detective Goodman? He also testified about the man's reaction when confronted. When I entered the evidence room, I asked him to show his card, sir. Yes, and how did Detective Goodman respond? He suddenly pulled a knife on me. Oh, like the knife that he uses to shave his stubble? Because it didn't look like the switchblade, right? It looked like a different kind of knife. Something about the officer's story puzzled me. If the man had had his ID card, why didn't he just show it? Yes, he would have needed it to enter the evidence room, so he must have been carrying it. But if he used a stolen one, or a version of it, or like the code or something instead of the ID reader, the answer is simple. He couldn't show it. As you can see, Detective Goodman's picture is on his ID card. Oh, I get it. Oh no, I've been misunderstanding this. I thought he needed a copy because we found the original way far away. But you know who else we found at the chief prosecutor's, like, that parking lot? We found Jake Marshall. What if this, like, fell out of his pocket or something? He could have carried it to the other crime scene. So then you only need one valid ID that gets stolen from Goodman by Marshall, who uses it and then transports it over to where we find it, not near where the body was, because Goodman didn't have it. Okay, parts of this are coming together. If he showed that, his cover would have been blown. Officer Meekins would have realized the man wasn't Detective Goodman. Do you have anything to say to this, Officer Marshall? He doesn't want to talk. Got quite an imagination, partner. You got a term for that. It's called circumstantial evidence. Circumstantial evidence? He's still denying it. You're gonna have to do better than that to break a detective. Unless you have hard evidence proving I dressed up as the victim. Can't say I particularly care for your uncooperative disposition. Can't say I care for your beard, but you don't see me complaining. Yeah. Well, Mr. Wright, do you have any evidence proving beyond a shadow of a doubt that Officer Marshall dressed up as the victim? Well, who am I kidding? I don't have anything like that. I can see the fear in your eyes, partner. It seems you're the one who couldn't take the desert heat. Ack! This can't be happening. so obvious he's the one. What can I do? Hmm. Hmm. Edgeworth, are you gonna save our ass? Or just make the situation worse? Looks like your lack of experience has finally been exposed. I'll pass on to you what someone told me when I was just starting out. When you've run into a wall with no place to go, return to the basics. The basics. For me, that would be what Mia used to tell me. Phoenix, try thinking outside of the box. That's the basics? I should look for proof that Officer Marshall was in disguise. But rather, I shouldn't look for that, but rather I should look for evidence that came about because he was in disguise. Why do you think this locker was open in the first place? What do you mean? There's no reason for Officer Marshall to open his locker at the time of the crime. Yet he did, despite the chance it might be discovered later, as it has been. He would have taken off the gloves. That's why there's the fingerprint. Which means he didn't originally plan to open his locker. According to the defense's argument, Officer Jake Marshall dressed up as Detective Goodman at the time of the crime. Then, after the crime was committed, he opened his own locker for some unknown reason. I think that Edgeworth knows the answer, and he's just trying to get Phoenix to see it. The fact that a white cloth is sticking out of the locker seems to indicate that he opened it in order to put the cloth inside. So, just what exactly is this piece of cloth? Perhaps the video is the key to all of our unanswered questions. I don't have any evidence, so this video is my only shot. I think it's the bloody shoulder that he didn't want to walk out dressed as Detective Goodman, but like wounded or with blood on him in a way that would draw attention. That's my guess. That's what I'm going to look at. After committing the crime, the witness opened the locker to put away the white cloth. Please show us why the witness had to open his locker. I think, let's fast forward. I think it's the bloody shoulder. That's what I'm gonna... Okay. Pause. This. Present. I hope that's it. For some reason, you disguised yourself as Detective Goodman and entered the evidence room, though I don't know to what end yet. However, something unexpected happened. Officer Meekins barged in on you. When asked to show your ID card, you pulled a knife on him. However, Officer Meekins panicked, and the white coat you were wearing was soiled with blood. I was right! A bloody white coat. You couldn't just walk out like that. So you hid the coat in your locker. Not bad, partner. Now then, Officer Marshall, are you ready to tell us the truth? Looks like I underestimated y'all. I hope you're happy now, Mr. Edgeworth. Oh, interesting. 2 years ago, if you were only half as persistent then as you are today, we all wouldn't have to be here now. Now would we? Yeah, interesting. So he definitely blames Edgeworth for something with that. Like, getting the wrong man, maybe? I'm not sure what their issue with the SL9 is. Officer Marshall, tell the court what you did. All of it. And the thing is, it might still be coincidental. Maybe he isn't working with whoever killed Goodman somewhere else. Maybe this was meant to be just its own crime, right? Like, maybe he just wanted the SL9 evidence from the locker, as part of his own investigation. So he steals the ID, he dresses up as Goodman, he goes in. It was supposed to be an easy thing, in and out. The cameras show Goodman, no issue. And instead, he gets attacked. Well, shit. But maybe it is completely separate from the fact that Goodman got murdered at the same time. But, I mean, they're obviously still connected with the SL9, but maybe he's not actively working with someone for it, is my thought. Seems the time has come. Okay, his confession. I had to do it that day. I couldn't just stand by and let it die. The evidence transferal. He had to get the evidence before it was transferred. I stole the detective's ID and dressed like him. I planned to take out the evidence. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out and managed to escape. I knew which areas wouldn't be caught on camera. There wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. Yeah. So the supposed victim was really you. But there's one thing I still don't understand. Traces of a large quantity of blood were found on the floor of the evidence room. Yeah, that's why we've continued to look at it. If no one was murdered, then how could that be? Officer Meekins managed to cut his own hand. My guess is he's the donor. It was way too much blood for such a small donation. Yeah, there's something up with that. Okay. When you say it, you mean... Yeah, do you even have to ask, partner? The SL9 incident. 2 years have passed since the case was closed. It was going to completely end with the transferal that day. Not if I have anything to do with it. That incident's not over. What did you hope to accomplish by sneaking into the evidence room? When a case is closed, only that case's lead detective can look through the evidence. I wanted to have a look at it myself one more time. No matter what the cost. I don't care what anyone says, partner. That case is mine. But Officer Marshall wasn't in charge of that investigation. Why does he care so much about it? That's a good question. That day was my last chance. That's why I stole the detective's ID. Why did you disguise yourself as Detective Goodman? I didn't make it look like Goodman was carrying out the evidence transferal. I'd be arrested for stealing evidence, which wouldn't get me anywhere. So you did it to fool the security camera. And the detective's ID card? I stole that the morning of the incident. So that really was why Goodman started filling out that lost item report. I returned his ID card. I left it on the floor in the prosecutor's office parking lot. Oh, he did that on purpose. The ID card I found was left there by Officer Marshall. Yeah. So essentially, you managed to succeed despite your lack of foresight. What do you mean, partner? I mean, the fingerprint-activated lock, of course. No matter how well you disguise yourself, you can't change your fingerprints. That's a good point. I was assuming he had pre-set that up. But if he didn't, who did? Under normal circumstances, you wouldn't have been able to open that locker yourself. But he could because a rubber glove just happened to get stuck in the door. That means Detective Goodman must have opened the locker before Officer Marshall. Yeah, so it might not have been on purpose. I wasn't expecting Officer Meekins. I knocked him out. You pulled a knife on Officer Meekins and tried to drive him off? Now let's just say I was a little surprised. I only planned on being in the evidence room for no more than 5 minutes. I didn't think anyone would actually come in during that short time. Officer Meekins certainly is a 1 in a million type of person. Mistaking a detective for an intruder and demanding to be shown his ID. I'll have to think of a little more about his raise this year. Whether that's good or bad, I don't know. When did Edgeworth get so much influence? Right? Anyway, he threw himself at me, and I ended up cutting him slightly. I'm sorry it had to turn out that way. With me knocking him out and everything. I mean, that's still like assault, Marshall. By the way, what happened to your knife? Oh, you mean this one? Right? The knife he's been fucking using this entire time? I don't know what to say. That's right, Phoenix, you should be ashamed. So you knocked Officer Meekins out and... So managed to escape. So you did your research beforehand. Those who go into the desert unprepared don't live long, partner. I didn't think it would make a difference, though. Security tape is erased every 6 hours. If all had gone as planned, no footage would have been left. However, you bloodied your coat in your struggle with Officer Meekins. If someone was in the security room when I came out, the jig would have been up. I opened my locker and stashed it in there. What was Officer Meekins doing during that time? What else? He was sleeping like a baby. So what you're saying is, on that day, there wasn't any murder in the evidence room at 5:15. Yeah, but the blood found at the scene certainly indicates a crime took place. What, are you blind? The victim shown on that tape is me, and I'm not dead yet, partner. So you stole the evidence from the locker? Actually, no, I didn't. Why not? It's true, we did find it there. When I opened the locker, the evidence was already gone. Well, shit. Did something happen earlier in the day? What? Mr. Edgeworth, where's that evidence? It's still missing, Your Honor. So who got to it first? Detective Goodman's locker was already empty. Someone else stole the evidence. Officer Marshall, may I ask you one thing? Fire away, partner. It's a free country. Just remember, I'm also free to decide whether or not to answer. Are you? You're on the fucking stand. Why did you do this? Stealing a detective's ID? Injuring a police officer? This is no small offense. Moreover, you're an officer yourself. This will have serious consequences. Can't just be forgiven with a simple cut in salary. Not that salary cuts are even ever a valid solution. I love you, Phoenix. Like I said, this isn't your case. This one is mine. And I'll do anything it takes to get an answer I'm satisfied with. Eunice has an unusual amount of zeal. Let's hear more. I can't just forget the SL9 incident. You know why? But that case was solved 2 years ago, wasn't it? That's the reason the evidence was stored in the evidence room. Joe Dark was convicted for his crimes. One thing I can say for sure is he deserved his sentence. I remember the Joe Dark case. It involved serial murders, didn't it? I don't intend to complain about how it turned out, but there's something that still bothers me. Something went down at that trial. Something no one will talk about. What happened? I don't know. That's what I'm trying to find out. Why is he so concerned with that incident? Maybe I should present him with what I think his real reason is. I had a feeling we'd wind up here sooner or later. Everyone involved here is related in some way to that case. Better take another look at the files. Okay. I was hoping to get to the end of Jake Marshall's testimony and everything, but I think I'm out of time. So I'm going to have to stop here and keep figuring this out the next time, I guess. see how it goes. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you then. Bye!